Since we are getting to the end of the year, now is the right time to cover my ranking of the LEGO Star Wars sets I think that you need to get if you don't have them already before they retire. In a previous video, I covered all the LEGO Star Wars sets retiring at the end of the year, but I didn't really get into my opinions of the sets or which ones you needed to buy, so in this video we'll be ranking from worst to the best of which LEGO Star Wars sets I would recommend. I'll be ranking these sets based on the actual build itself, the minifigures included, and their uniqueness, and pricing will also be a factor in my decision. There won't be any investment advice in this video as it's not really my expertise, but there may be some reference to it, such as price increases in old sets, but it definitely won't be a factor in my decisions. So without wasting any more time, let's get onto the list. So coming in at the bottom of the list is set 75384, the Crimson Firehawk. This is a 4+ set that released back in January 2024, so it's almost been available for 2 years. Like a lot of 4+ sets, the pricing was insanely high, with this one costing £47 or $50, which is crazy. The minifigures are unique to the set, but not exactly desirable, or figures I would see rising in price significantly post-retirement, so pairing that together, we have a bad build, okay figures, in a wildly expensive set that has been on shelves for almost 2 years. It is absolutely due retirement and it won't be a miss once it's gone. Coming in at 22nd, we have Luke Skywalker's X-Wing Mech, which has been available since June 2024, costing £13 or $16, and with one minifigure in Luke Skywalker. Now there is absolutely nothing wrong with this set for me. You're either a fan of the mechs or you aren't, and in my case, I am not. But the set is low on the list as there are just better or more desirable sets for me. The Luke obviously isn't the same as the one seen in the UCS X-Wing, which we will get onto later, so I don't think the set is a need for the minifigure alone. If you are collecting all the mechs for whatever reason, this is obviously a must-buy set, and I personally think it is the best LEGO Star Wars mech available, but if you're just an average collector, this is definitely a miss. Heading into number 21st on the list, we have set 75380, the Moss Espa Podrace Diorama, which has been available since May 2024, costing £70, yes, £70, or $80 and no minifigures included. This set is a very frustrating one for me, as when I first heard its announcement a few years ago, I was so excited to see this one, and I think it's a very poor build. The only two pod races you get look like polybag builds, and I don't think the surrounding Tatooine build is anything particularly interesting either. I do think having the start line with all the crowds would have been a better choice. I would only recommend picking this set up if it's on a healthy sale, or you are collecting all the LEGO Star Wars dioramas, but for most people, I think this is another miss. Next up is set 75392, the Creative Droid Play Builder set, which has been available since August 2024, costing a whopping £90 or $100, and it comes with an exclusive Princess Leia minifigure. Now the builds themselves are pretty terrible, a pretty cool concept, but not good to look at all, never mind the price for them. The only saving grace for this set, and the only reason it isn't dead bottom, is the inclusion of the 25th anniversary Princess Leia, which means the set is a requirement to buy if you want all of them. I think post-retirement, this set is only going to rise in value because of that Princess Leia minifigure, so it is a case of getting it before retirement purely for the price spike in the figure, but the set itself is a major miss. Number 19 on the list is set 75393, the TIE Fighter and X-Wing mashup, also released in August 2024, costing £95 or $110 and comes with 5 minifigures. I wouldn't say this set is a must buy at all, as it is a slightly expensive way to get both an X-Wing and a TIE Fighter, which are pretty solid builds. You do get some good figures with the set, especially the exclusive L3GO Astromech droid, and the main play function of this set, the fact that you can interchange the parts of the two ships, is pretty cool. For most LEGO Star Wars collectors, you've probably already got a superior X-Wing or TIE Fighter already in your collection, so for that reason, the set is a major miss. In 18th place is the BARC Speeder Escape, which has been available since May 2024, costing £25 or $30, and has 4 minifigures, being the exclusive Keller and Beck, Grogu and 2 501st Troopers. Although this is just another standard BARC build from LEGO, this time including an additional sidecar and lamppost build, it's an overall good solid set with great minifigures for a reasonable price, meaning this set marks the first one I would recommend for pickup. 17th on my list is set 75373, The Ambush on Mandalore, which has been available since June 2024, costing £20 or $20 for 4 minifigures. I think this is a very solid battle pack, but I am unsure if people will collect the figures as much as, say, a Clone Wars battle pack, but their overall design is really good. The piece inclusion to simulate the figures flying is another great inclusion. However, the best part of the build for me brings me on to number 16, set 75386, the Paz Vizsla vs Moff Gideon battle, as you can actually combine the two sets, which is so cool. And because of this, I do see these two sets as a necessary combo. Looking closer at set 75386, which has also been available since June 2024, costing £35 or $40, and also has 4 minifigures, being Paz Vizsla, Moff Gideon and 2 Praetorian Guards, I see it very similar to the previous set. The overall build is pretty good, with a healthy amount of play features. The only thing that brings this set down for me slightly is the fact that there should have been 3 Praetorian Guards instead of 2, but aside from that, I really do recommend these two sets, especially as a pairing, and at this point you could probably get both for under £50. In 15th place is set 75385, Ahsoka Tano's Duel on Peridia, which released June 2024 for £50 or $55 with 5 minifigures. Now this set is quite difficult to recommend on the whole, as it's pretty overpriced and I think the build isn't anything special, with some really poor sticker problems. The minifigures on the other hand are great and are the main draw factor for the set, especially Thrawn. And this is where my recommendation for this set lies. The last time we got a Thrawn was 2017, and according to Brick Economy, he is now valued at £80, which is a 20% annual growth. As such, if you do want a Thrawn minifigure, I would recommend picking up this set before it retires, as it's only going to rise in value. If you don't want a Thrawn minifigure, I would give this set a miss, but because of how popular Thrawn is, you definitely want this set. Taking the 14th place is another Ahsoka set 75362, Ahsoka Tano's T6 Jedi Shuttle, which has been available since September 2023, costing £65 or $80 and has 4 pretty good minifigures. This set has been available for some time now, so I do think it's getting slightly overdue for retirement, but I would go and get this set. 1, for the figures, as you get 3 unique minifigures in Sabine, Huyang and Marek, and the build, while smaller than the previous version, is also really solid. The only reason the set is so low on the list is that the pricing is slightly too high, the build has little to no interior, and it's been available for so long. If you find this set on discount, that's the only time I would buy it. I don't think I'd pay full price for it. Heading into 13th place is set 75383, Darth Maul Sith Infiltrator, which has been available since May 2024, costing £60 or $70, and with 4 minifigures, including the exclusive Saw Gerrera. I feel like this set is overall pretty good. The build is solid, you get a nice inclusion of figures, if you can overlook the pupils on Darth Maul, and the Sith Infiltrator itself is a really cool ship, but like a lot of sets on this list, the price does let it down. I also do think the set could have benefited from 1, maybe 2 extra figures, that being Obi-Wan and Padme, but I would recommend this to any prequel fan or anyone who doesn't have an Infiltrator in their collection already. 12th place is set 75396, the Desert Skiff and Sarlacc Pit, which has been available since August 2024, costing £70 or $80 and has 6 total minifigures. Now I do think this set is going way too early, as it's only been available for a year and a half, but mainly as this is the DLC to the UCS Sail Barge, which includes a pivotal part of the scene and has iconic minifigures from episode 6. I find it baffling this set isn't going to be available for the duration of the Sail Barge's shelf life, despite being a clear add-on. Other sets, such as the Obi-Wan Starfighter, has seen extensions to pair up with UCS sets, so I can't understand why this one hasn't. The set itself is unbelievably overpriced, but the reason it's so high up on the list is because of its inclusion with the Sail Barge. If you're not going to get the Sail Barge, you can probably miss out on this one, but if you are, it's so necessary to have in your collection, and I think it will spike in price post-retirement. That's because collectors who do have the UCS Sail Barge who maybe buy it a year from now will be looking for this set, so naturally it is going to rise in price. I just cannot believe that it's retiring so early. Number 11th on the list is set 40755, the Imperial Dropship vs Rebel Scout Speeder, which has been available since October 2024, costing £35 or $40, and comes with 7 minifigures. I feel like this set could have been available for a little bit longer, as it's only been on shelves for about a year, and that's because it's a good way to potentially fill up the new UCS Death Star. As a set, I think both builds are solid, new varieties of the old Battle Pack builds, but with only 3 of each troopers, I think that's a slight downgrade. The extra exclusive figure is a nice inclusion, but I feel like having 4 of each of the troopers would have been the better option. A great battle pack that just justifies its price point, this is a set I really would recommend. And now into our top 10 is set 75376, the Tantive IV, released March 2024, costing £70 or $80, and with no minifigures. The first and only negative is that price. I do think £70 is way too high, especially compared to the Invisible Hand at only £45, but I may be biased as this is one of my favourite ships in Star Wars. I am also a massive fan of the midi-scale ships, which is another reason I think I have it so high on my list. If you are trying to collect all the midi-scale ships, I think this is an absolute necessary purchase, but I would keep an eye out for a price drop as £70 is quite high. Similar to the last set, in 9th place we have the Invisible Hand, set 75376, which also released in March 2024, costing £45 or $50, again with no minifigures. I think the standard of the build is slightly higher compared to the Tantive at a much lower price, and I do believe a lot more of you guys are prequel fans than original trilogy fans, so that's why this set is higher on the list. A lot of my reasonings for buying this set is exactly the same as the Tantive. It's a must buy for midi-scale fans, but also fans of Episode 3. In 8th place is another prequel set in set 75381, the Buildable Droideka, which has been available from May 2024, costing £60 or $65, and technically 1 minifigure. I think this set is absolutely beautiful, and probably my favourite buildable set, mainly because we don't get very many Episode 1 sets, especially in this detail. You can roll it up into a ball, which is a great design feature, and the plaque is always a nice inclusion too. I do think the shelf life is slightly too short, as we've just had the buildable B1 Battle Droid and the MTT released, and these pair up really well together. I think this is an absolute necessity for prequel fans. Please buy this set before it retires. In 7th place is set 75387, board in the Tantive, which costs £50 or $54 and has been available since March 2024, and in total you get 7 great minifigures. I currently think that this is the best LEGO Star Wars playset available. It looks great on both display and as a playset. It's a good way to get plenty of minifigures, and the 5s is just that added bonus. You can even buy 2 of these sets to create a longer hallway to replicate that scene from Rogue One. This is an absolute must-buy set before retirement. 6th on the list is set 75374, the Onyx Cinder, which released in August 2025, costing £125 or $140, with 5 unique minifigures. This set is high up on the list as I can guarantee it will never be made again. I personally haven't watched The Skeleton Crew, so let me know in the comments below if I need to watch it, but I still think this is a beautiful build. The play features are so cool, and the figures are really unique. Because of this uniqueness, I think this is a must buy as the price will increase post-retirement, and it's also a really cool set to have in your collection. 5th place on my list is set 75304, the Darth Vader helmet, which released all the way back in 2021, costing £70 or $80 and with no minifigures. Now this may be controversial with how high the set is, as the set has some negatives such as the price, and as M&R Productions said in his review, the mask does look to have chipmunk teeth. However, Darth Vader is by far one of the most iconic parts of Star Wars, and his helmet is an absolute necessity to have in any LEGO Star Wars collection. Much like the Millennium Falcon or an X-Wing, this is the type of set you need to have in your collection. Just missing out on the top 3 is the UCS X-Wing, set 75355, which has been available since May 2023, costing £210 or $240 with 2 minifigures. I think for a UCS set, this is a very good value. The Luke minifigure is borderline perfect, and the overall design of the ship is pretty solid, but it isn't the best UCS X-Wing ever created. For the most part, I think the vast majority of LEGO Star Wars collectors will love this set, aside from maybe the die-hard fans. If you're in the market for a UCS set, you'll be very happy with this one, and the X-Wing is just so iconic. Taking the bronze medal is set 75354, the Coruscant Guard Gunship, costing £130 or $140, with 5 minifigures in total. Look, I understand that this is a smaller build compared to old gunships, and there are some glaring errors in the minifigures, especially Commander Fox's torso. However, this is such a unique set and we'll probably never see anything like it again. I think this is a Clone Wars fan's dream, a niche part of the series with some cool clones and a unique colour scheme. This uniqueness alone puts it so high up on the list. I do also see the price of this set rising post-retirement, so Clone Wars fans, if you want the set, get it now. Taking the number 2 spot is the UCS Razor Crest, set 75331, costing £520 or $600. This has been available since 2022 and has 4 minifigures included. This set is a must-buy for any UCS collector for 2 reasons. First of all, the build is absolutely immaculate. Not only do you get insane detailing and interesting building techniques on the exterior, I think the amount of detailing this managed to capture on the interior is just as impressive. I think anyone who collects UCS sets with design in mind will be really impressed with the Razor Crest. Second of all, with the Mandalorian movie releasing next year, and the Razor Crest, albeit a different version of it, being in the film, I see this set rising in value post-retirement as people will want a UCS version of the ship. At this point there have been some really good deals on the Razor Crest. It's the cheapest it's ever going to be, so if you want to get it, definitely get it before retirement, as I only see it going up in value, especially when that movie releases. And taking the number 1 spot is set 75357, the Ghost and Phantom 2, which costs £150 or $160 and has been available since September 2023, having 5 minifigures in total. This set takes the number 1 spot for me as the build is absolutely fantastic. The different colours and angles of the ship are done structurally so well. I love the fact that you get both the Ghost and the Phantom, as in previous versions you didn't. The amount of interior is also brilliant. You can fit all the figures in the ship with no issues, and there are plenty of seating areas in the ship. The only drawbacks for me is the pricing is just slightly too expensive, and I think the minifigures are slightly average. The better figure lineup would have been the Ghost crew, but it does make sense being an Ahsoka set. I personally think that this is the best designed ship of the Disney era, and LEGO have captured it immaculately. Finally, if we look at the old Ghost, post-retirement this has raised a lot in price quite a lot, and with this being the superior version of the build, I definitely see this set doing the same. For me, this was always going to be number 1 on my list. It's an absolute immaculate build. It's by far the best set retiring. I actually need to take my own advice as I don't own this. I need to get it before it retires. And with that final set, that is the list wrapped up. I really do hope you guys get all the sets you want before they retire. My recommendation would be to get them before the end of October, as they're only available while stocks last. I've been a victim of that myself. I've talked about it in a previous video. I missed out on the trash compactor because I just waited too long. I do hope that you've enjoyed this video and found it informative. If you have, drop me a like below so I know I've done a good job. And if you want to see more videos like this one, please subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.